Hello and welcome to another episode of the Cable Plus Property Show, the number one platform where we provide you with information on issues related to the land and landed properties. My name is Oiza, and as you already know, this is where we ensure that you get verified information, first-hand information on issues like building construction, documentation, registration, and obtaining your planning permits. Flooding is a natural disaster, and whenever it rains in Lagos, one of the things that people get scared of is the aftermath of flooding, how it destroys lives and properties. And that is why I have joined with me in the studio in this video the Permanent Secretary, Office of Drainage Services, Ministry of the Environment and Water Resources, no other than Engineer Nurudeen or Shodeinde. Come with me. So what is, when flooding occurs in a certain area, what are the residents of that area, of that environment expected to do? What are the actions they should take?
When flooding happens, the only thing you can do is to save your life and property. Because flood, it has happened, the water is there already, you can't do anything. But a lot can be done before the flooding happens. A lot can be done to prevent that event from occurring or to reduce the negative effect of that event taking place. But like I said, don't dump your garbage in the drain. Don't put your refuse by the roadside. Don't leave your house in the morning on the way to the office, park by the road and dump your garbage on the median. Patronize the registered PSP for your area so that you can help your environment. Don't discharge your wastewater into the drain. One thing government is coming up with is what we call the international best practice. It's a term, sustainable urban drainage system. This involves not government doing anything. It just requires that government regulates how you build your house. In the past, something was done with the physical planning laws, which says that a certain percentage of the land must be left green to encourage population and things like that, but it's not enough. Sustainable urban development system, SUDS, Sustainable Urban Drainage System, SUDS. The word sustainable is is known for it to help us into the future, sustainable. Urban drainage, channels, system, something that is continuous, that outlives anybody, doesn't depend on any mortal. It's a system, it's a process. So when you're thinking of going into an area, you have at the back of your mind that there's a natural water cycle that I need to maintain. You would have naturally prevented flooding. Do you understand? And what does this mean? It means that when rain is falling, I, as a home developer, as a home owner, need to provide an infrastructure that will hold 90% of the storm runoff when rain is falling. So I'm only going to allow 10% to flow out. So that temperature that flows out won't aggregate and flood anywhere. It will be natural, there will be no flooding. So that 90%, when in the village of old, so they do roof gutters, that they will pipe a channel into a pot that they use for their domestic cause. Nowadays, what do? A lot of us depend on borehole water, right? Quite expensive. But you can imagine us using borehole water to do garden. Use borehole water to wash your cars. Expensive water to flush toilet. We're wasteful, unfortunately. That's where I look at it. Rainwater is a good resource. You can recycle it to do all these dirty things. It is cheap. It's going to come every time during some time of the year. Why don't we key in? So we are trying to encourage people to be doing this. Do roof gutters. Collect all the rainwater in your compound. Store it in a tank for reuse. If you don't want to reuse, don't drink it. Use it for gardening. Use it for flushing your toilet. Use it for washing your cars or whatever. But if you really want to recycle it, when rain is falling, hold it. When the rain stops, let it go out. That means we are doing what we are attenuating, we're delaying that peak flow time. What causes flooding is when you have peak discharge in a short time. When it's raining, let small water go out. When the rain stops, that same volume of small water, let it continue going out over a long period. Rather than having 100% of runoff within 2 hours, you're having 100% in 12 hours. That peak is very small. You have any flooding situation. So that's sustainable urban drainage system. Equally, that sort encourages deep percolation. Yes, I'm not saying go and start ripping off your compound of your concrete. No. Just like the soakaway you have that allows for percolation into the ground. Create a tank for storm runoff. Channel your runoff into that tank. Let it stay there. It can be there for 2 days before it goes into the ground fully. At least the water you have abstracted for your borehole, you have replaced. So all these are actually green, climate-friendly solutions that government just needs to encourage people to imbibe. It doesn't require mega investments. Rather, spending billions to provide drains. We're only saying, just do roof gutter, do a tank, do a ridge in front of your gate. Don't let your water go out.
So is
onto the road.
Part of the strategy or master plan of Lagos State to manage the effect?
Exactly. That's why we do what sustainable is an international practice. I say international best practice. It happens all over the world, but we're now adopting and adapting it to suit our purpose. It goes more than this. It's a lot more about, recreating the green in the city, trying to create greening of a city. That's SUDS. But for the first phase in Lagos, we're tackling flooding. Other phases will follow. So we're engaging the public on this. That it's a no-brainer. Like I'm explaining that you're really flowing with me now. By the time we tell Lagosians that, come, just provide this, your flooding will stop. It's like magic. Once you can hold your runoff in your compound and doesn't go into the public space, flooding will disappear. Urban flooding. But for the river flooding, like I always say, that one is a big problem because people have actually built in low-lying areas. Because you cannot really store water in a waterlogged area. So in some areas of Lagos, you have, by the time you dig half a meter, you're already touching water.
So are you saying there's no solution that can be preferred
for those areas? No, there are mega engineering infrastructures that will need to be provided. It cannot be so natural because if we had planned very well before the development took place, then we would have advised on the level of fuel, how high, like I'll tell you for free now, to mitigate climate change effect on flooding. If you want to sandfill anywhere along the lagoon, you must fill 3.75 meters. A study had been done to that effect. Okay? So it's not enough that you are now sandfilling to that height. You need to provide a channel that will handle the water that will naturally come from the river. You need to live with such. So, but going to the future, Lagos, we are trying to do a study of such flood-prone areas and trying to understand what we need to provide to create a resiliency strategy for them in terms of what actually do we need to do. But it's not an off-the-cuff solution. It's mega engineering. We're talking about dikes.
Okay.
You're riding dikes, and these are not things you can just do without planning because diking requires area. You require a lot of things. So, but we're getting there.
Okay. So let's talk about your office now with agencies like LASPA, LAPCA in the provision of planning permits and also managing or controlling illegal development.
Thank you very much. As a government body, we have a synergy amongst ourselves. Might not be robust enough, but we have some semblance of synergy with the Ministry of Physical Planning, with lands, Surveyor General, uh, NTDA, Minister of Housing, all those MDAs that deal with the build sector, because whatever they do affects the environment. So the environment sits on top of all of that. Yes, as relates to my office, there's what if they have an approval or an application to approve anything for areas that fall in a low-lying area or close to a canal or drainage channel, they oftentimes send it to us for us to clear that such a development, or for us to advise on how to sustainably develop such a property before they give their approval. So their approval will ride on our own recommendations to them. So we have a very good synergy with such MDAs. But a lot of illegal developments wouldn't have gone through them. But if it has gone through them, it's no more illegal. So those illegal development is actually a headache for all of us in the government system. Because people have built without getting the necessary approval, which would naturally have advised you on how best to do that development.
How about people that develop, get approval, but developed outside what the approval has provided?
It's still a people problem. But why would you want to create a problem for yourself when you have been given approval to do something, you're doing something else? I mean, I can't love you more than you love yourself, can I? Huh?
No.
I love me more. You can't love me more than I love myself. Thank you. So I believe the approval granted is for me to have a good life. So I'd rather stick to that approval than do something selfishly that cannot affect my neighbors and the environment. So it will be an ongoing thing, trying to encourage Lagosians to please stick to whatever is lawfully or legally given. It makes for balanced living and everybody's going to be happy. The moment you start thinking about yourself only, being selfish about what you want to do, you start doing things for your own reason only, your neighbor is going to be negatively impacted. Everyone's going to be affected. So let's love each other. Let's just do the right thing according to what the law says. Enforcement is something that is quite difficult to do. How many of us are public servants in the state? Max 200,000. It's still over 20-something million people. Over 2 million households. How many people can we enforce? And this illegality is taking place almost all over the place. So we need everybody to help us enforce. If you live in an area that you see an ongoing development, don't care whether he has put an approval number or not. Call that hotline of government. Send a message to something's happening in my area. I don't know whether you guys are aware. I'll come and confirm. You have helped us. Because we can't see everywhere. We need people to work with government, to give us information for us to work and serve them better. So if it goes beyond interministerial synergy, there needs to be that handshake with the community. Because they're actually the government. We are just their servants. We are civil servants. That's the truth.
Is the activities of your office in the terms of removal of legal development, is it empowered by laws and regulations? And if
definitely.
Yes, are these laws and regulations, are they available to the public? Are the public aware? Fully aware?
There have been master plans, there have been laws of the state that regulate the environment from as far back as the early 60s. Since colonial masters left, independence was given, yes, even before the colonial masters left in the 50s, there have been some form of law and plans for the environment. But the most recent law is the 2017 Environmental Law of Lagos State, 2017, very robust. It takes care of all sectors of the environment, drainage, solid waste, you name it. Okay? So enforcement, you see, let me tell you something about our enforcement. Like I said, most channels are naturally existing. So technology is what we use to defend ourselves. If we serve you a notice and say you are encroaching, I have a C of O, I have my survey, no problem. You have all those documents. Let's Google this, your C of O. Let's chat your C of O. Where was this in 1990? Orthophoto. Where is your land? Where is the canal? So we will see who came before who. If the canal came after you, then we are the illegal. I mean, I can imagine somebody telling me that my canal is encroaching on his land. When I say a natural canal is encroaching on his land, I'm like, which one is first? Is it the canal or your land? You understand? So the canal can never encroach. The canal can never encroach. Only land can encroach on the canal alignment, right? But even if, let me just say, supposing that we need to do an artificial bypass for a channel and have to go through your land, government has a right for overriding public interest, provide a public infrastructure, but your pain will needfully be assuaged. Do you understand? So that's not an enforcement. That's an acquisition. That we want to provide an infrastructure for overriding public interest that will create pain for you. But that pain should not be left unassuaged. But for when the channel is natural and you are the one coming to now disturb the overriding public interest, we have it on our mind to prevent you from doing anything negative to affect the environment. And so the laws back us up.
What kind of developments are you empowered to remove?
Any illegal development, no matter what class, what stage, what category, once we can prove that you are illegal, we'll take you out.
Just an addendum to that. Now, to what extent would you say, because most of the time when government agencies carry out their activities like that, you find out that either the public claim ignorance or oblivion of those rules. So to what extent can you say the public is aware that, okay, such kind of buildings or buildings encroaching on these infrastructures can be totally removed? And
let me tell you what, the government won't sneak in like a thief in the night to remove your house. When government is coming to enforce, we will knock your door and inform you that we're coming, that we're accusing you of encroachment. You'll get a notice. You'll get all the notices before we come to remove. We won't just sneak in and no. You see, in my whatever, I was in LabCap for like 2 years. So it's always been the same story. We were not told. We were not served. But when we open the file and we show them the notice, because that you were properly served. We might not give it to you by hand. Sometimes we give the notice to the security on site. He won't deliver to the homeowner. Sometimes you won't meet anybody on site. You paste the notice on the fence and you take a picture. It's legally acceptable. Because we are not accusing the owner of the encroachment. We are accusing the property. So we are communicating with the property. So whoever owns the property should not take liability and resolve it. Do you understand? So once we have adequate evidence that we have served you all notices, giving you the time legally bounding that we ought to give you, I believe we are duty bound to do the enforcement as best as we can.
Okay, you mentioned earlier that sometimes, or supposing that your office has to encroach on a person's land.
Not encroach.
Okay.
We need to provide,
yes, or acquire for overriding public interest.
Yes.
Okay, someone's property.
Yes.
How does your office provide compensation for?
No, there's a process of that for the state government. We don't compensate. We do the infrastructure. We only inform our principal that we have done this. So once we want to do this, and as part of the total quality management approach that we have in the state, we would have, informed the agency, SUDS would have responsibility of compensation, that this land, we're going to use it, whatever. So once we know the owner will direct you to meet that agency, then that one is not on our own front burner. It is between the owner and that agency that they will now sort out the compensation. But we will do what we want to do while they will sort out their compensation part of it.
Okay, what happens in the case where the compensation is delayed or denied?
It can never be denied. It cannot be denied. Your right is your right. Cannot be denied. Lagos is very responsive. We're very people friendly. Well, no, it can never be denied. Because once an agency had said that I am doing this, if you are not going to compensate, we'll say, don't do it. But if we feel so strongly that is the solution for that thing, government is about serving the people. And it's taxpayers' money that is being used to do this. So I've never heard of a case whereby compensation is denied. Yes, delay, yes, but patience, you have some patience, eventually you get paid. Yeah.
Let's go on a quick commercial break and we'll be right back on the conversation.
Cable Plus Property, the hub of professionals in the built environment and the #1 online educative platform on all issues related to land and landed property. At Cable Plus Property, our aim is to ensure that all Nigerians and non-Nigerians have at the tip of your fingers, free of charge, all information on landed matters. We provide you with all information you need to know about land procurement, land documentation and development, planning permit procurement, building construction, and so on. Join us today for free by subscribing to our YouTube channel, like and follow us on our social media platforms, and check us on our website www.cableplusproperty.com. Together, we shall make our environment better. Spend and build right.
Hi, welcome back. It's still the Cable Plus Property Show, and I have with me still in the studio engineer Shodeinde. We've been discussing about flooding, and I trust that you've learned so much because I have. Welcome back. Let's talk about the processes involved in obtaining clearance. That's the drainage clearance for a developer. Developers are usually asked to approach your office for drainage clearance, and like you mentioned earlier, that before LASPA provides the permit, they have to come to your office for clearance as well. What are the processes involved?
Yeah, it's a very straightforward one. Just pay your application fee of 20,000 naira, apply in writing, attach your title document, a survey preferably, then an inspection will be done to understand the morphology of your land and what your land looks like. Then a report will be written recommending whether you have enough setback to the right of way of the channel that you're then if you're in a low-lying area, we'll advise you on how high you will need to sand fill your land. And like I said, SUDS, Sustainable Drainage System, will be introduced into your recommendation that when you're building, you have to follow this retinue of processes for you to ensure that your runoff is not passing to the environment during the peak period. So once you do that, you pay the basin utilization fund and get your clearance. It's a very straightforward thing.
So the only payment a developer is expected to make is 20,000.
No. There is a basin utilization fund which depends on the area of your land and the location.
Okay, so my next question is about the differences between a canal, drainage alignment. I know we already talked about all of this in your discussion, but just to be more specific, canal, drainage alignment, and wetlands.
Drainage alignment just specifies the right of way of a drain of any of western runoff passes alignment where I pass my route alignment. A canal is just a defined pathway for water. Okay? You can say canal, you can say channel, you can say drainage alignment.
Okay.
They're all saying that this is a pathway for water. You can use them interchangeably. While a wetland is a natural area provided for permanent or temporary storage of water when there's a flooding situation. It can be temporary, it can be permanent, but it's usually a low-lying area that will serve as a buffer to a water body. In case the stage increases, it will have an area to stay without disturbing the people. That's a wetland.
To your regulations, which of these three are developments allowed?
None.
Oh, okay.
None.
But we have people building in wetlands.
illegally. You know, I said earlier that I don't have, if you have to, if you must, yes, Lagos is the mega city, we need land. But we don't just need land. We can go vertical. Mega cities go vertical. That's why I said physical planning has a role to play in the future of Lagos State. Mega cities don't sprawl. When I say sprawl, you have a city that is now short height, low height buildings. You are now sprawling. You are now increasing your spread. It's more expensive providing infrastructure for a sprawled mega city. But it's easier, it's cheaper, more effective if you have high rises, medium rises, 15 floors, 20, 50 floors. A building can contain the entire house in an area, one block. Do you understand? We have a 50-story structure that can take maybe like 100 apartments or 50 apartments. Let me just put it like that, 100 apartments or 150 apartments. Some streets have just maybe 10 houses. The cost of that road is even more expensive than the value of all the houses on that road. So why don't I just stack all of you on each other? Provide power for the elevator or the lift. Then I have lesser to spend on road infrastructure. It's a no-brainer. So physical planning has a role to play in Lagos megacity project. We cannot be, you see, we need to leave the wetlands alone. The lands we have we can do urban renewal in Lagos.
High-rise buildings.
Yes.
Is that feasible, or should I say, would it be acceptable considering the number of building collapses we record in Lagos?
I'm an engineer. Nothing in my ethos, nothing is impossible. If I like, I can construct a building in the air. I might be thinking of it. I might have a solution now. If I keep thinking and thinking and thinking, I will get a solution to that, my target. Because as an engineer, we find solutions. If you tell me as a client that you want this kind of structure, you want to have this kind of life, I'm supposed to go and find a solution for you and make sure you have it. Just pay the money. Provide an enabling environment. Collapse structure is our work. I don't know. It shouldn't be a stopgap for us to think big. But it shouldn't ordinarily collapse. Collapses happen because of some human errors. There are codes and standards that guide engineering and every profession, as a matter of fact, from disasters. Okay? So if you follow to the letter what you're supposed to do, I'm not saying there's no act of God. Thank God we don't even have earthquakes in Nigeria. Even areas that have earthquake, that are earthquake prone, they have higher rises than we have in Nigeria, and they don't collapse. That's engineering. We find solutions. But it's a lot more economical if we compact Lagos, go vertical and leave the wetlands to serve their roles. We don't all have to be landlords, but we can all be home owners. My home can be on your home, can be on every other person's home. We can stay on each other's head, on the same square meter of land. That is more effective use of land space. There is value in the air. Am I making sense to you there? Thank you. So let's think outside the box that we're used to. Because we grew up somehow, doesn't we have to die that way? Let's open our minds. Be innovative. Be intuitive. Ask questions. When you travel, don't just go and do shopping. Look at what is happening out there. Why are they doing this? Ask the why question. We can do a lot of things better by thinking outside the box. Don't think government can't solve all your problems. It's not done. There's a handshake required. You can't, in my vernacular, they say we are eating grain. When you're eating grain, what did you finish from the plate? But you're not putting the thing back inside. You can't be creating problem and expecting someone to come and solve your problem. You're not creating it. now want me to come and solve it. That's not going. We have to work together. Because if you keep doing the same thing and I keep solving it, I'm able to do any other thing. But if you stop doing what you're doing, I won't come back to solve that problem again.
But you agree with, sir, that for any developer to construct high-rise buildings, then they would need approval from the government. Is the government ready to approve such heights of buildings?
Unfortunately, that's not my mandate. Unfortunately, but I'm saying, as a forward-thinking, positive-minded person, that going vertical is a solution for housing, for physical development in Lagos State. I'm saying it to all my chest and my mouth and my head. Government will provide the enabling environment. It's not a matter of thinking of, okay, what do we need to do to get this? We can't, because, hello, sprawling city affects the environment negatively. And it's very expensive. A distance, if you compact the city, you have lesser distance to travel to get anywhere. People live in as far as Ogun State, Ifo, and they're coming to Victoria Island. But if you compacted the city, they can be living in Sweden and working in Victoria Island because the entire Ifo will just stop at Surulere because you're all on you're going vertical. You have more space to provide green areas for you to relax, for you to have parks. You can provide more public infrastructure. But all of us want to be landlords. We cannot be landlords. We can be home lords, not landlords. Yeah. Change of mindset.
What message do you have for Lagosians regarding flooding generally? And particularly, would also like you to give the Cable Plus Property Group a message.
Thank you very much. Let me say to Lagosians in general, a lot of the pain we feel is self-inflicted. We need to love ourselves to enjoy the environment. The environment will not take any impact away. The environment feels no impact. The impact is on us. Whatever we do comes back to haunt us. So we need to live according to the ethos of governance. If government says do this, let's do it the way government has said it. You know, very simple basic things that we do creates problem. You took water in your car. The next thing is you're throwing out the PET bottle onto the road. That PET bottle will end up in somebody's drink somewhere. A lot of negative attitude. You need to have a change mindset to the environment. Let's just stick to what government is telling us to do. Everything we're saying in government is for us to have, everybody to have a good life. So that's my general talk to Lagosians. We need to live according to the rule of the state. If you must build your house, obtain all approvals. There is no way you can cut corner. If you don't, it will come back to haunt you. They might not catch you now, but something like posterity will catch up with you eventually. All the flooding we're suffering, we're the ones bearing the brunt at the end of the day. Government spends so much funds providing infrastructure that we end up destroying. We end up building in low line. So these are things we need. So talk to government for you to have a good livelihood. There's no shortcut to good livelihood. You must be a legal being. Now to the cable group, I must say I'm humbled and honored to have you come interview me. This is a very drilling session. I must acknowledge that. Coming from I'm sure you did a lot of research. No, I'm not complaining. It's nice. You see, we're here to educate ourselves. A lot is known and a lot is not known as well. That's why you have to unlearn, learn and relearn every day. I've learned a lot from this interview. I want to thank the group for coming to interview me, for giving me the opportunity to share my own personal opinion. All I've said today is about Shodeinde. Okay, I've only told you the way I know it. I'm not saying that is the best, but as I'm talking to you, that is the best that I know. But you can take it away come back and have a chat. Don't come and challenge me. Because what you said the other day, I found that this is not right. Okay, let's have a chat. That is how to grow. Having a conversation. I've told you what I know. If you hear any other opinion, please feel free to give me a feedback that you said this. Can't we look at it this way as well? So that's how to grow. So I really thank you. And from the intro you gave, I'm sure you do it all the time. So please, I'll be glad if you can always give us a feedback on whatever affects our sector, because that will make us be better informed and be able to serve the people in a more effective and efficient manner. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, sir. So if you used to think that flooding is just a natural disaster, I'm sure that from all you've heard today, you've understood that aside the fact that flooding is a natural disaster, you as an individual also have a part to play in managing the situation. Like the engineer has rightly said, we have to work hand in hand with the government to make sure that our environment is better than it is now. My name is Oiza, and thank you so much for watching this video. Make sure you click the subscribe button below, share this video with friends, family, and colleagues, and also head on to our social media platforms on Facebook and Instagram. Follow us at Cable Plus Property. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.